on this computer on YouTube, and I'm going live on this computer on Facebook. All good technology. I just have to figure out how to get them all working. So this is an interesting experience because I haven't done it this way before. Okay. Hopefully we're up and running, and hello to everybody on YouTube, and hello to everybody on Zoom and Facebook. And somebody's saying they're in awe, and that's very nice, but it's not necessary. Thank you very much. So I think people will log on in the next few minutes. So why don't we just take a moment to sit and get ourselves settled, and then people can join at their leisure, and we'll just have a nice gentle start. Okay, so in the normal way that we do, just put your feet on the floor, your bum on the seat, extend your spine upwards, tuck your chin in a little bit, and allow your thinking to settle in and down inside of you. Allow the breath to do whatever it needs to do at this point. So if you've just had a busy day and you find that your breath is a bit ragged, just don't get into a fight with it. Allow it to find its own rhythm, its own balance, its own way. Your body knows how to breathe. You know how to breathe. It doesn't need you interfering with it. So these first few moments are just the opportunity to, allow yourself to come to rest, come to stillness. And as we sit here, just noticing what it takes to let go of the day and allow ourselves to open to this moment, to be fully present to this time together. Maybe as you're letting go of the day that you've just had, you notice that your mind is now grabbing at the evening ahead. And the response is always the same, whether we're in the past or in the future. The response is always to come back to here and now, come back to this breath, and then this breath, and then this breath. Really good. Lovely. Thank you, everyone. So just coming back to eyes open in whatever way you feel suits you. So tonight I'm just going to rub my hands together to create some friction in my palms. And then I'm just going to cup them gently over my eyes. It's a very nice, soothing, refreshing way of completing a short practice. Giving myself a little bit of an eye rub just around the sockets. And coming back to the group and eyes open. And you might want to stretch. You might want to yawn, jiggle, wiggle, whatever. So lovely to be with my friends, and thank you everyone I know and those I don't know for being here. Lovely to see you. I'm doing this to everybody. Tonight I'm inspired by this idea of sitting in the pocket of the moment. So I want you to imagine an empty vessel like this. And when we talk about sitting in the pocket, we're talking about sitting right in the middle of it. So we're not early, we're not late, we're not scooting around the sides, we're in the pocket. And I put a link on the WhatsApp group to this lovely lady who's a drummer, and she's explaining how in music they talk about in the pocket. In fact, I think she's called Mrs. Pocket because she's really well known for being in the groove, being able to be in the middle of the beat. Bang. And I wanted to bring this concept to sort of this idea that we talk about in mindfulness of being in the moment. Because believe it or not, sometimes we slip away from the moment. We slip to just before it or just after it. And yet there's something very special about being in the moment, right deep into it. And that requires us to have why it makes sense with this musical analogy is because it's a feel. It's not a thought about what it is. It's a real sense of being. Punk, right in the middle. Tunk. And I wanted us to unwrap that and explore it. Obviously, intellectually, as we talk or I talk, but in our practice, this idea of being in the pocket of the moment, being in the pocket of the breath, is truly profound and has a very different feel to when we're just, scooting or thinking or, we're just not in that deep connection. So I wanted to read a few things to you to inspire you around this idea, to sort of spark your imagination and spark your understanding of this. And if something I read doesn't make sense to you or doesn't kind of resonate with you, just put it to one side and don't worry about it. But listen for the things that do resonate with you. Listen for the things that you do find make sense to you, and use them when we go into the meditation. The first piece I want to read to you is a talk by a philosopher called Adi Dar, and it goes back to 1999. I've truncated it and edited it, so apologies to any scholars who are out there who know Adi Dar's work and feel like I'm being untrue to his words, but just to bring the essence of what he's talking about to life. And so when he's talking about, obviously nobody else talks about being in the pocket of this moment. This is something I've made up. But it comes out in all these other philosophical writings. So I don't think I'm completely mad making this up. And also, if you were here last week, this has a very direct relationship to what I was talking about with respect to thoughts and our identification with those thoughts, because it's that identification with thoughts that takes us out of the pocket of the moment. So you can't be truly in the pocket of the moment, in that deep space, if you like, if you're attached to your thinking. And that's how Adidar comes into this teaching. So he says, it appears that you are associated with conditions in the states of waking, dreaming, and sleeping. However, none of those conditions last. So his point is, you're awake, you're dreaming, you're asleep. They're three different states, and yet they are not conditions that last. They're passing, they're ephemeral, they come and go. And therefore, you cannot be any of those states. So the fact that you transcend all those states means that you are something different to the sleeping, waking, dreaming that we keep thinking we are. So you are the thing that is consistent across all those states. Your entire waking state arises within consciousness. Your entire dreaming state appears within a consciousness. And your entire sleeping state appears within consciousness. So any condition that is transient is appearing within consciousness. Consciousness itself is already here and available to you. So consciousness is the thing that contains and holds all these states. Even while you are aware of different things, awareness itself never varies. So if you grow old, if you grow sick, if you grow tired, your consciousness, your ability to be conscious does not grow old or tired or sick. So this is this idea that it transcends these different states. Awareness is simply and only awareness itself. No matter what happens, awareness is simply aware of the process. And awareness itself is never affected. So he concludes by saying, if you inspect awareness itself, so rather than getting caught on the things that are inside awareness, growing old, growing sick, growing tired, growing angry, happiness, sadness, whatever, if you stop looking at those things but start looking at awareness itself, if you enter into it most profoundly, you will see clearly that awareness itself never changes. It simply is, and in the depth, you become a mere witness. So this is, again, speaks to me of this idea of being inside the pocket of the moment. I know that those are not his words, but my translation of it is that way. So I want to offer, again, inspired by Mrs. Pocket, the drummer. I watched the clip, and I encourage you to watch the clip if you've got it on your WhatsApp. She does a couple of things. Firstly, she suggests that there is a need to slow down. So that is entirely consistent with our mindfulness practice, which is this idea that we're going to slow down. She also talks about the pocket of the rhythm is not exactly as it's been written down. So if you were to write down the music of being in the pocket, it would look like 1, 2, 3, 4. But when you're in the pocket, you're able to have a feel which is transcending that idea of what is just written down. So being in the pocket of the moment is not a thinking about it, but it's a feeling into. And Mrs. Pocket, the drummer, also suggests that it's not just the notes that she plays, it's the spaces around the notes that make the notes make sense. So again, as you are sitting in mindful meditation, think about or find or explore or feel your way into that sense of space, that sense of the container that is vast enough to hold everything. So that's going to be the basis of our practice tonight, to slow down, to feel into, and to pay attention to space as a way of investigating this idea of being in the pocket of the moment. And to get us settled and started for this practice, I'm going to read a poem by Dana Falls, and it's called Just for Now. Just for now, without asking how, let yourself sink into stillness. Just for now, lay down the weight you so patiently bear upon your shoulders. Feel the earth receive you and the infinite expanse of the sky grow even wider as your awareness reaches up to meet it. Just for now, allow a wave of breath to enliven your experience. Breathe out whatever blocks you from the truth. Just for now, be boundless, free, with awakened energy tingling in your hands and feet. Drink in the possibility of being who and what you really are. So fully alive that the world looks different, newly born and vibrant, just for now. So with those beautiful words, let's get ourselves to a comfortable sitting position. Some of you like to lie down, please do that. And of course, if you want to turn off your camera for the meditation, please do that as well. And really take your time settling. So for example, I've got a nice fluffy around me, so I'm just going to push it down and make sure that my lower back is supported. That's important if we're going to sit for a while. We're going to sit for about 20-25 minutes, so it is important to make sure that you're settled and upright. So as you get into a practice, the first thing is to pay attention to sort of symmetry, because if you're lopsided one way or another, then the muscles are going to have to work hard. Also pay attention to the skeleton. So your skeleton can stack, and that provides the scaffolding, if you like, for the rest of the body. And then when you've got symmetry and structure, you can just relax. So the shoulders can drop away from the ears. You can rest your hands in your lap. You can really now put your energy into the meditation rather than putting your energy into the posture. Keep the posture as effortless as possible. And then the meditation also becomes kind of effortless, although it doesn't become like a jelly, not that sort of effortless. It becomes calm and easeful. Start with your breath, just simply coming and going. Thich Nhat Hanh says, breathe in, know that you are breathing in. Breathe out, know that you are breathing out. You can have a sense of the pocket of the moment by noticing when your mind is engaged and skiddy, and noticing when your mind relaxes and in that moment things become stiller and calmer. And the first few times that this happens, the mind might react and step in. Kind of, it wants to be involved, it wants a piece of the action. And rather than being tricked into explaining to the mind what you're doing, instead just continue to feel into that moment. If you're new to mindfulness, or if things that I'm saying don't make any sense to you at all, then just stay with a simple breath meditation, which is keeping the mind focused on the breath. But for those of you who are more experienced and able to make sense of what I'm saying, although it's not an intellectual sense making, it's very much a sort of body sense making. Just continue this practice in your own way in the next 10 or so minutes. I'll give you a reminder every now and again to make sure that you haven't nodded off. But this is a very personal, very intimate practice. It's very gentle. And please don't get frustrated if you're losing each moment. That is part of the practice. Just continue to sense into what's here. you can just continue to remind yourself this is not a thinking process, this is a sensing process. This is about smelling your way in, or tasting your way in, or nuzzling your way in. So it has a real sense of sort of primitive burrowing into the middle of the moment. Playing with any of these ideas that make sense for you. So just a few more moments sitting here. And maybe as part of the closing for this practice, you'd like to dedicate the goodness of your practice to persons known or unknown, alive or dead, maybe creatures or animals or pets or beloved companions. Just the simple act of opening our heart and making that dedication of our practice can be helpful and moving and remind us of a sense of belonging. All our deeds are part of the causes and conditions of the world, so pouring out some love and some honour to others is very beneficial. And when you're ready, just begin to move very gently. Bring some deeper breaths into the body. Maybe move the head around a bit, roll the shoulders a bit. Maybe sip some water if you have any water around nearby. And I'm going to say goodbye to people on YouTube at this point because I'm going to begin to open it up for questions and comments.